I'm making a PokeMiku. What is a PokeMiku, you might ask? It's a collaboration between Miku, the singing, dancing hologram, and Pokemon, the game where you catch small creatures in Pokeballs. For this collab, they have released designs of Miku as Pokemon trainers. There are 18 different trainers, one for each type of Pokemon. I don't know much about Vocaloid. Like, I'm just gonna put that out there. Don't come for me. I know very little about Vocaloid, but I do know quite a bit about Pokemon. I've cosplayed Pokemon on here before, and this will be my very first Miku cosplay. I feel like most cosplayers eventually cosplay a Vocaloid at some point in their career. All roads lead to Miku. This is the logical progression in the magical girl to idol pipeline. So I'm going to be the normal type trainer Miku. She has a bird with her. I like her outfit. She looks cool. And we are going to do a group for SakuraCon. So right now it is Thanksgiving weekend, end of November. Today I want to make her oversized t-shirt. I think that's really easy. I think it will give me like a little burst of motivation to keep going through the harder parts of this costume. So here is a white cotton stretch twill, 97% cotton. This will be our t-shirt base, fresh from my fabric scrap pile. And then I also have some black cotton twill, also from the fabric stash, so that will make up the base of our shirt. For the applique, I wanted something a little bit extra. I wanted something sparkly, something different. This is a PV vinyl. I didn't think I got that much because it's just for the appliques, but like I got so much of this. I thought I had a good idea of how to eyeball like how much a yard of fabric is, or 2 yards, and I'm gonna have a lot of this left over, it's fine. For our shirt pattern, I have this shirt pattern that I use for my husband's Shikamaru shirt, like the black undershirt for Shikamaru. So I know that it's already gonna be oversized on me because my husband is bigger than I am. Probably make this a bit longer, maybe a bit wider, just kind of tweak this shirt pattern. I'd like to call this little number. I will make literally anything except a mock-up. So this is the shirt fabric I've cut out, and I wanted like a bit of a like proof of concept. So this is literally just held together with pins, and that's it. And it is very pokey. And I think I'm ready to sew this lining layer together into an actual shirt and cut out the outside layer, and then we can get started on our fun little applique with the vinyl and see if that works. So on the center of her shirt, she has a Chatot Pokemon. The cool thing about this project, this collaboration between Miku and Pokemon, is they have some really good reference pictures. This is cosplayer gold, okay? So on the references for this Miku in particular, they had her shirt design kind of like in a corner. So I tried to blow that up to a scale that I could like trace it on the shirt basically, and it's a little cursed. And then she also has a 39 on like her hip. And like I said before, I'm not a Vocaloid person, okay? But the really cool part about being part of a collab with 17 other PokeMikus is I could tap into the Miku hive mind. And apparently the 39 is a Miku thing. Like 3 can stand for me and 9 can stand for Ku. So it's Miku spelled out, like it's a Miku thing. This applique is a unique shape, and I am using a interesting fabric, so I'm gonna do a little bit of extra steps in my applique process this time. I'm going to temporarily adhere the applique to the fabric so it's not moving around. I'm just using a temporary spray adhesive. Once I have that stuck in place, I'm going to do a straight stitch around all the edges, just to make sure that this is gonna work before I pull out the fancy stitches. Then I will do a satin stitch over all the edges, and when I'm done, I can pull off the stabilizer on the back. The biggest issue I had with appliquing vinyl is that it is pretty thick, and the foot tends to stick onto the surface of the vinyl. So you just have to be really careful and pay really close attention and make sure you are feeding this fabric through. That actually worked out. This has come together pretty well. So next we'll be doing all the bias tape and the rivets. This is a build that looks deceptively simple at just a glance, minus the wig, which is terrifying. It looks like just a shirt and sweatpants, right? But it's like, okay, I need to make the shirt, I need to put the applique on the shirt, I need to make the bias tape, I need to put rivets on the bias tape. So there's a lot just to even the shirt part, which I pegged as the easiest part of the build. It is now December 10th, so about 2 weeks later, and you might be thinking, this looks exactly the same as it did 2 weeks ago, and my dear friends, you would be right. So all I did on this cosplay last weekend is I put some Warbler over some buckles. She has some bright pink buckles, and I covered normal hardware buckles in Warbler so I can paint them pink and they look a bit chunkier. I need to make progress on this. SakuraCon has now uploaded their cosplay contest rules. Applications open on June 20th. Which is still a lot of time, but I need to absolutely have 25% of the cosplay done by then if I want to enter. So we just need to get moving. I'm just gonna cut out some 2.5 inch wide strips of black cotton twill and attach those to the outside of our shirt, making sure that everything is properly like flipped over and hemmed. And then for the gold hardware details, I actually want to use grommets. Rivets are just kind of small. I felt like they didn't give the same sort of statement as you see in the artwork, whereas grommets are much bigger, and I felt like the extra detail of having them have an opening in the center might look visually interesting. So I will be using grommets for those little details. 38 grommets later, and I am suffering. I did not realize how bad my grip strength was until I tried to set 38 grommets, and apparently it's not what I remember it to be. Please remind me to get an actual grommet press next time I want to do a project like this, because the hand thing was so hard. Okay, so here is our sweatpants fabric. It is like a cotton knit blend, so it should take to dye really well. So I spent a lot of time thinking about what order of operations I wanted to achieve rainbow tie-dye sweatpants. Do I want to dye just like this giant yardage of fabric, rainbow, and then cut everything out and sew it? Or do I want to dye it after everything is sewn together? I think I want to sew the top and the pants, minus the elastic finishings, and dye it like that, because this does give me tie-dye energy, which is generally done on a finished garment instead of on like loose fabric and then sewn together. The sleeves are a bit too big. I feel like the body of this is fine. I didn't want it too tight anyways, with it being underneath this big t-shirt dress. I just need the sleeves to fit a little bit better before I dye this. The other thing about Miku's undershirt is it also has gloves, like it goes over the hand. I'll be making those gloves as a separate piece. That just makes a lot more sense to me, because then it'll be easier to put it on, take it off. I'm just gonna level with you guys. I'm not really feeling it this weekend. Like, I'm not feeling the cosplay vibes. So I'm gonna get the shirt done at least, and then do the pants tomorrow. We are breaking this up into the smallest tasks for me to power through this cosplay, because I sure do not want to be making Miku in like March. Get it done! Ah! I have a few issues with pants. First of all, pants are just annoying in general, but the issue I have with these pants specifically is trying to decide if I should line them or not. Sweat sets generally aren't lined. I've never bought a sweatshirt that is completely lined. It's this thicker material, so you only need one layer, and as long as you serge it, it's fine. And on top of that, with the knit fabric I'm using, I felt like 2 layers, I would just be sweating buckets. So the shirt I made yesterday is not lined, it's a single layer. and that's going to be underneath this t-shirt dress. More reason not to line it. But with the pants, I'm thinking I might end up lining it. I noticed yesterday when I tried on the shirt that it is just a tad sheer. Also, I realized I'm doing an applique on the pants, and I don't really like the feel of the backside of an applique directly on my skin, so I think I might actually line the pants. We have pants! Honestly, I'm pretty happy with these. This is just one layer of the pants. They are just a little bit of a tighter fit than I wanted. They are giving a little bit more legging than sweatpants in some areas, but I am really tight on fabric. I do not have a lot of fabric left for the last few pieces I need to cut out, so I'd say this is pretty darn good. I'm gonna throw in this for the gloves. I'm not gonna bother cutting out the gloves. I feel like this is gonna be enough for a pair of gloves. Yeah, that looks about right. Then I have these cut out for the leg bands, waistband. I have an extra one in here because I cut too much. And then these smaller straps are the shoulder straps, which will be dyed yellow. I can definitely get an applique out of like this amount, and I have some other like small pieces. So yeah, I'm basically using every piece of this fabric, but it's fine. We have everything we need to dye. It's December 23rd, the eve of Christmas Eve. Today we are finally going to dye. You can see I have a wide range of dyes. I've never dyed something this complex before, so I'm going to be doing a dye bath for each color. Something about these sweatpants is it's not like an ombre transition from one color to the next. It's pretty solid transitions from color to color. So I'm hoping that because of that, I have a little bit of grace with this, and I can just kind of dip parts of the fabric in, and it's okay if it looks kind of blotchy and blocky. So I'm gonna start with yellow. I felt like starting with the lightest color made the most sense, because then I can just kind of dye a little bit more than I need and cover up the yellow with the darker colors later. So for yellow, I will be dyeing the shoulder straps, and I'm gonna be dyeing kind of like the knees and the elbows of the sweatpants. So far, so good. It's a little blotchy. There are places where the dye kind of seeped into places it shouldn't have, but I think we can still fix it with the other colors. So I think the next color I'm gonna do is pink. So for pink, I need to dye the waistband, the leg bands, the top of the pants, so everything above the yellow section will get dyed pink. It is working! Hello? There we go, 2 colors! So next I'm going to move on to green, which is just the forearm and the shin of the sweat set. I'm not exactly like dipping the fabric like you would for an ombre. I'm more like finding where the color switch needs to be and just setting it there in the pot. Here's how our shirt turned out. The pants were much harder because the pants have 4 different colors. I definitely think I got a bit too close to the yellow with the green dye. Like, that's a really small section of yellow, but it works. Like, it's still, like, I feel like this still translates. I feel like this will still work. So all that's left is the very last color, which is the blue, which is going to be the very bottom of the sweatpants. I'm going to dip just a tiny bit on the bottom of the shirt, and then I will dye some fabric for the gloves. Merry Christmas Eve. Everything is now dry, so let's take a look at how our dye turned out. Here's the fabric for the gloves. Got waistbands, leg bands. I have the shoulder straps here, and now that I have all the other colors dyed, I went ahead and I painted our belt buckles. So I now also have little pink belt buckles. This is the top. I think it turned out pretty good. I didn't quite get the blue on the edges, but that's fine. You can kind of see a few places where the dye got a little bit too close to the shirt. That is fine. This undershirt you're not going to be able to see because it'll be under the t-shirt dress. And then the most difficult part was these sweatpants, and this is how our dye turned out. I think it's beautiful. Got a good kind of transition between colors. I need my bird. I can't film the YouTube video if I'm not gesturing with my little bird. The good news is a little Christmas present from me to me. I believe we are well over 25% done with this costume at this point. So should I still decide I want to enter this into the SakuraCon competition, I am now able to do so. I am very much torn on if I should enter or not, because this costume just is not complex enough for Masters at SakuraCon. But on the flip side, it is leagues above what I entered into Masters at SakuraCon last year, which was a crop top and skirt. Yes, that is the thing that happened. I entered a crop top and skirt into the Masters level at SakuraCon because I just wanted to do the contest. I wanted to have a good time, you know. I made the outfit, so it's completely within the rules. That's a thing you can do, like cosplay hack. If you want to do a cosplay contest, as long as you follow the rules, you can do a cosplay contest. What do we have left for Miss Miku's outfit? For the t-shirt dress, I'm going to take our shoulder strap, kind of clean that up, put it through our freshly painted buckles. It is devastating that the t-shirt dress sleeves are too long to see the gradient I worked so hard to dye on the sweat set. Like, look at this. This is where the yellow is, and this is how far my sleeve goes. I don't know if the t-shirt dress sleeve is too long or the yellow gradient needed to go further down, or both, but it is what it is. There's no way to fix it at this point, so we have made peace with it. I have also figured out how to attach our buckles. I had a vision, perhaps a prophecy, where I just threw this into the washer and dryer after a con, and then in the dryer the Warbler heated up because it's a thermoplastic, and then it got sticky and it destroyed everything. Like, that is the vision I saw so clearly in my head. So these are actually attached with snaps. I have one snap here, and this can come off. And then I have two snaps for this one. This actually snaps to the t-shirt dress instead of to the sweat set. So it comes off completely and then snaps to the inside here. Today, unfortunately, is January 14th. I got really sick at the start of the year, so I took a week off from Miku just being sick, and then I took another week off just to catch up on life things, and here we are. One thing I do want to catch you guys up on, though, I picked out a piece of this costume that I felt like I could kind of very slowly chip away at even while I was sick and catching up on stuff, and that is Miku's shoes. I started with these white base Fila shoes. There's a few different colors incorporated here, and I'm not going exactly canon to the design. I felt like it would look better to instead follow the shapes of my base shoe. For each color, this is 2 layers of acrylic paint mixed with a fabric medium. The fabric medium is, in theory, supposed to allow the paint to flex a little bit more so I won't get as much cracking. I cannot really tell you if that's true because I just don't walk a lot. The shoelaces are supposed to be yellow, and I had white shoelaces. So I pulled out our dye pot yet again, and I dyed the shoelaces yellow. These shoes are not 100% done yet. I still am going to go back and add some foam and warbler details. So truly all we have left for this video is just hemming and finishing up our sweatpants. I want Miku to be done. I'm tired of thinking about Miku every single weekend for months on end. And the first thing I need to do is add an applique. The pants have a little O1 on one of the pant legs. Again, I needed to consult the Miku hive mind to figure out what that meant. I guess she's the first Miku, I think, so she's like #1 Miku. This is going to be exactly the same process as the applique I added on our t-shirt dress, but easier because I'm not appliquing vinyl. With the applique done, now I can finally attach our outside and lining layers of our sweatpants, and I can add the waistband and the leg band. And I am threading a 1-inch elastic strap through with a safety pin and sewing that up. And same with our leg bands. I'm just attaching those to the bottom of our sweatpants and threading some elastic through. I have never worked so hard on a pair of pants, and it's just sweatpants. There's one last piece of sewing I need to do before we could be 100% complete on the sewing side of this project, and that is gloves. There are a few cosplay items that I have decided I will always purchase or commission because I have made them before and they were not worth it. Gloves are one of those. However, since this project is all custom dyed fabric, I had to make gloves this time. So these are super easy to pattern if you are using a stretch fabric. So all you have to do is trace your hand on a piece of paper and then add seam allowance, and then you have your glove pattern. As an extra little bonus, I did make the thumb a different pattern piece. This just allows for a little bit of better fitting so the glove doesn't bunch up in the palm of your hand. Then I could attach our thumb piece to our glove piece, and then we get to the really tedious and awful part of sewing gloves. When you have the gloves sewn together, it is nearly impossible to hem the finger holes because you cannot fit a sewing machine in those finger holes. So I decided I would hem all of the fingers before I sewed it together into a glove. Here they are, and they don't look fantastic. Okay, I'll admit they look a little bit funky. For whatever reason, this finger is longer than all the other fingers. So I'm not sure if I could call this a final reveal because the costume isn't entirely done yet, but it is the end of this video, so maybe it's a halftime show. My bird. Ugh, there's my bird. It's been a while since I've spent this long on a cosplay. It's been a while since I've made something that really challenged me and tried new skills, and it's just a pair of sweatpants. Like, I mean this in the nicest way possible, but this looks so underwhelming. But it still took me a really, really long time because a lot of the stuff that took work, like dyeing everything and the appliques, is something you don't really notice until you get up close. But I am still entering this into the SakuraCon cosplay contest, and I'm hopeful that I get in. As far as the craftsmanship goes, there are a few things I want to fix up before I go to compete this, just a few tailoring things. I think I'd like to bring the sleeve a little bit tighter so the transition to the gloves is a bit smoother. I think I'd like to bring this strap in a little bit so it fits better. Stuff like that. I do think that skipping the mock-up phase for this entire cosplay definitely hurt the fit of it. Wow, like, Colleen discovers that when you don't do a mock-up, you don't have a mock-up. I mean, I think as cosplayers, it's a constant struggle of, I want to make this nice, but if I spend too long in the mock-up phases, I'm going to lose motivation and I won't make it at all. At the end of the day, most of us are doing this as a hobby. I am doing this outside of, you know, I have a full-time job too. Should I have made a mock-up? I don't think this looks bad. I think it could look better, but I don't think this looks bad. I do think it is one of my better craftsmanship builds I have made, and I hope you guys stick around for part 2, where I will be making the wig, which scares me, and all of the foam Warbler accessories and such. That part 2 video will hopefully be coming out around March or April. I'm just taking a little bit of a break in between my Miku builds so I can work on some other stuff and wait for all the wig supplies to come in. But I hope that this video was still interesting, even though it's just a part 1. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye!